The words of the Lord Enki, firstborn son of Anu, who reigns on Nibiru. With heavy spirit I utter laments that are bitter fill my heart. How smitten is the land, its people, delivered to the evil wind, its stables abandoned, its sheepfolds emptied. How smitten are the cities, their people, piled up as dead corpses, afflicted by the evil wind. How smitten were the fields, their vegetation withered, touched by the evil wind. How smitten are the rivers. Nothing swims anymore. Pure sparkling waters turned into poison. Of its black-headed people, Shumer is emptied, gone is all life. Of its cattle and sheep, Shumer is emptied, silent is the hum of churning milk. Of its glorious cities, only the wind howls, death is the only smell. The temples whose heads to the heaven arose by their gods have been abandoned. Of lordship and kingship, command there is none. Scepter and tiara are gone. On the banks of the two great rivers, once lush and life-giving, only weeds grow. No one treads the highways, no one seeks out the roads. Flowing Shumer is like an abandoned desert. How smitten is the land, home of gods and men. On that land a calamity fell, one unknown to man. A calamity that mankind had never before seen, one that cannot be withstood. On all the lands, from east to west, a disruptive hand of terror was placed. The gods in their cities were helpless as men. An evil wind, a storm born in a distant plain, a great calamity wrought in its path. A death-dealing wind born in the west, its way to the east has made its course set by fate. A storm devouring as the deluge, by wind and not by water a destroyer, by poisoned air, not tidal waves overwhelming. By fate, not destiny, was it engendered. The great gods and their council the great calamity had caused. By Enlil and Ninhursag it was permitted. I alone for a halt was beseeching. Day and night to accept what the heavens decree, I argued, to no avail. And Norta, Enlil's warrior son, and Nergal, my own very son, poisoned weapons in the great plain then unleashed. That an evil wind shall follow the brilliance we knew not, they now cry in agony. That the death-dealing storm, born in the west, its course to the east shall make. Who could foretell the gods now bemoan? In their holy cities the gods stood, disbelieving as the evil wind toward Shumer made its way. One after another the gods there fled their cities, their temples abandoned to the wind. In my city Eridu, as the poison cloud approached, I could do nothing to stop it. Escape to the open steppe, to the people I gave instructions. But Ninki, my spouse, the city I abandoned. His city, Nippur, placed of the bond in heaven and earth. Enlil could do nothing to stop it. The evil wind against Nippur was onrushing. In his celestial boat, Enlil and his spouse hurriedly took off. In Ur, Shumer's city of kingship, Nanar to his father Enlil for help cried. In the place of the temple that to heaven in 7 steps rises, Nanar the hand of fate refused to heed. My father who begot me, great God who to Ur had granted kingship, turn the evil wind away, Nanar pleaded. Great God who decrees the fates, Let Ur and his people be spared. Your praises to continue, Nannar appealed. Enlil answered his son Nannar, noble son, your wondrous city kingship was granted, eternal reign it was not granted. Take hold of your spouse Ningal, flee the city. Even I who decree fate its destiny cannot bend. Thus did Enlil my brother speak. Alas, alas, not a destiny it was. A calamity none greater since the great deluge gods and earthlings has befallen. Alas, not a destiny it was. The great deluge was destined to happen. The great calamity of the death-dealing storm was not. By the breach of a vow, by a council decision it was caused. By weapons of terror was it created. By a decision, not destiny, were the poison weapons unleashed. By deliberation was the lot cast. Against Marduk my firstborn did the two sons destruction direct. Vengeance was in their hearts. The sentence is not Marduk's to grasp, Enlil's firstborn shouted. With weapons I shall oppose him, Ninurta said. The people he raised an army, Babali, as earth's navel to declare. Nergal, Marduk's brother, so shouted. In the council of the great gods words of venom were spread. Day and night I raised my opposing voice. Peace I counseled, deploring haste. For the second time the people have raised his heavenly image. Why does opposing continue, I ask, completing. Have all the instructions been checked? Did not the heir of Marduk in the heavens arrive? I once more inquired. Ningishita, my very son, other signs of heaven sighted. His heart I knew, Marduk's injustice to him could not forgive. Nannar to Enlil on earth born was unrelenting too. Marduk my temple, the north city, his own abode made, so he said. Ishkur, Enlil's youngest son, punishment demanded, and my lands to whore after him the people he made, he said. Utu, son of Nannar, and Marduk's son Nabu his wrath directed. Place of the celestial chariots he tried to seize. Inanna, twin of Utu, was furious of all. The punishment of Marduk for the killing of her beloved Dumuzi she still demanded. Ninharsag, mother of gods and men, her gaze directed. Why is not Marduk here? She only said. Gibel, my own son, with gloom replied. Marduk has all the entreaties put aside. By the signs of heaven his supremacy he claims. Only with weapons will Marduk be stopped, Ninurta, Enlil's firstborn shouted. Utu, while protecting the place of the celestial chariots, was concerned. In Marduk's hands it must not fall, so he said. Nergal, lord of the lower domain, ferociously was demanding. Let the older weapons of terror for obliteration be used. At my own son I gaze in disbelief, for brother against brother the terror weapons have been forsworn. Instead of consent there was silence. In the silence Enlil opened his mouth. Punishment there must be, like birds without wings the evildoer shall be. Marduk and Nabu, us of heritage are depriving. Let them of the place of the celestial chariots be deprived. Let the place be scorched to oblivion, and Ninurta shouted. The one who scorches let me be. Excited, Nergal stood up and shouted, let the evildoer cities also be upheavaled. The sinning cities let me obliterate. Let the annihilator my name thereafter be. The earthlings by us created must not be harmed. The righteous with the sinners must not be perished, I forcefully said. Ninharsag, my creating helpmate, was consenting. The The matter is between the gods alone to settle. The people must not be harmed. Anu from the celestial abode to the discussions was giving much heed. Anu, who determines fates, from his celestial abode his voice made heard. Let the weapons of terror be this once used. Let the place of the rocket ships be obliterated. Let the people be spared. Let Ninur to the Scorcher be. Let Nergal be the Annihilator. So did Enlil the decision announce. To them a secret of the gods I shall reveal. The hiding place of the terror weapons to them I shall disclose. The two sons, one mine, one his, to his inner chamber Enlil summoned. Nergal as he went by me his gaze averted. Alas, I cried out without words. Brother has turned against brother. Are the prior times fated to repeat? A secret from the olden times to them Enlil was revealing, the weapons of terror to their hands entrusting. Clad with terror, with a brilliance they are unleashed. All they touch to a dust heap they turn. For brother against brother on earth they were forsworn, neither region to effect. Now the oath was undone, like a broken jar in useless pieces. The two sons full of glee, with quickened step from Enlil's chamber emerged, for the weapons departing. The other guards turned back to their cities. None of his own calamity had a foreboding.